So the first of four finals, the first batch of finals that is, getting underway. Junior Rotax now heading onto the circuit. This time the finals will be 11 minutes plus an additional lap. And here is your starting grid. So after a clean sweep in qualifying and the heats, Kai Rielitz will start from pole position. The defending champion will have countryman Tom Bracken alongside in the 288. Thomas Strauven makes it a top three lockout for Belgium with the 299 entry. Tim Gerhards, the runner-up from last season, starts on the outside of row number 2. Theo Blanc in fifth, ahead of Thomas Stolzemanis, Mathis Turlo, Antoine Brogiot, Bruno Mollers, and Ethan Jeff Hall, who represents Great Britain. Max Knappen, Marius Roos, Fahin Mega, Daniel Sugar, Nick Gerhards, Mikkel Pedersen and Magnus Pedersen, Kasper Schormans, Janis Diak, and Vic Stevens round out the top 20. Harry Linden starts 21st, ahead of Denmark's Eric Martinez, Thomas Kans, Rafael Renhofer, Alberto Kiko Fracassi, Chloe Chong, Greta Rosen, Enzo Boll, Montego Masson, and the returning Austin Lee, who told me this morning I'm going to release the torpedo and see what happens. Well, let's see how the youngster representing Germany in the 223 gets on this morning. But Ghazi Motlikar from Mozambique is unfortunately a non-starter. So this is where the first points on the board will be put into place. 25 points for a win. We've already had someone go a bit off track on the formation lap. So Kasper Schormans has had to get out of the way. That looks to be Theo Blanc, I believe. 25 for a win, 20 for second, 16 for third. Then it's 13 for fourth. Fifth place is 11 points. Then from 6th to 15th, it goes from 10 to 1 points. And that is in all the categories here at the Euro Trophy. So 15 rows, 30 drivers. 11 minutes on the clock plus an additional lap. So the first of four finals days this season, as it is a very tightly packed formation. Looks like we do need... Well, Austin Lee has now brought up the rear of the field. Youngster based originally out of Portland, Oregon, now running under the German national flag through his license. But it is down to Rielitz and Bracken to control the pace. They exit out of the final corner. And for the first final day of the season, are we ready? Are we steady? Let's race. Rielitz gets an absolute flyer. And straight away, Tim Gerhard's putting down some kind of authority. But we've had a moment, and it looks like Stolzemanis has been caught out. And there was somebody else involved in that too. So not too sure who it was, but Stolzemanis from Latvia having an absolute howler in the first couple of corners. But Rielitz leads, Bracken in second. Third looks to be possibly, well, that's a JJ Racing kart, if memory very much serves me well. As they head down the Europlan for the first time, Tim Gerhards rounds out the top three or top four positions as more drivers coming into contact with each other. As Austin Lee has just made up 5 places on the fly, going through turn 7. Nice smart driving from the youngster. Now we got somebody off, and that's Mathis Turlo. Now, one of the biggest conundrums is the rain has stopped. If any of these drivers have gone on slick tyres, that's a brave call, trying to do a Jensen Button. But they are scrabbling for traction. Rielitz takes the title line. Bracken runs wide coming out into turn 12. But then Bracken gets a real good run down the start-finish straight, right in the slipstream. Gap between the top two was just over 1/10 of a second. Bracken now goes for the lead on Rielitz. Rielitz runs a little bit wider than Bracken. And then it's Bruno Molders. So Molders, on this particular occasion, he has made some good initial progress. So the leaders now making their way through. Now, that is Gielitz getting past Bruno Mulders, the 277. And Mulders started down in 9th. And Gielitz gets around the outside to keep Mulders at bay. But in the meantime, Tim Gerhardt is with them. Then it is the 243 of Antoine Bourgeot, as Max Knappen now trying to go into battle with Thomas Strauve. Nick Gerhardt finds himself up into around 8th or 9th position as things stand. So you could cut this tension with a knife and it still might have some good tensile strength to keep going. But Bracken has started sprinting away into the distance. He now has a lead of nearly 1.3 seconds on Kai Gielitz, as now Tim Gerhardt fancies a sniff at 2nd position, but Antoine Bourgeot gets up the inside of Bruno Mulders through turn 2. And the French driver gets through, but then Mulders switches back right up the inside as a pair tangle. Oh, Bourgeot's front axle went up into the air, going through between turns 4 and 5. Well, I never, as there is another move, and that was Gielitz versus Gerhardt, and Gielitz managed to shoot up the inside of the 216 as Bourgeot and Mulders re-engage into battle. And Bourgeot looking up the inside, gets through cleanly through turn 8. But whilst Tom Bracken is running away to a point, very different lines taken there between Tim Gerhardt and also, but that momentum carry was then incredibly poignant there from Tim Gerhardt, but Kai Gielitz managed to get past before the apex of turn number 12. So we've had 2 time penalties for breaking formation. So the 216, and that's Tim Gerhardt's broke formation with all 4 wheels out of the tram lines, and also the 247. That's Magnus Pedersen, broke formation with 2 wheels out of the tram lines. Antoine Bourgeot still battling away, and he's ahead of Bruno Mulders. Gerhardt's up the inside. Oh, now that was close. And look, the 2 that were in the title fight last year, again, they nearly come to blows there. Probably the sidewalls of the right tyres of Gielitz and the left of Gerhardt made possibly the slightest bit of rubbing contact there, but that's allowed Antoine Bourgeot to close in. Bruno Mulders rounds out the top 5. Ethan Jeff Hall behind Max Knappen and is about a 10th and a half behind the Dutch driver. Thomas Strauven started P3, now down into 8th ahead of Marius Strohs. Vic Stevens far in Mega, now up into 11th. And there has been a charge up the field. Harry Linden is moving, and he's moving at a pace. He's going rather a bit quicker than Magnus Pedersen. Antoine Bourgeot set the fastest lap of 1 minute 15.777, but Harry Linden up 7 places from 21st on the grid. As there goes Bruno Mulders up the inside of Antoine Bourgeot. And there is Ethan Jeff Hole, and he's ahead of Max Knappen. So the young Brit up into 8th position, having started at the rounding out the top 10. Strauven again dropping positions as Harry Linden finds himself about 7/10 of a second ahead, behind Nick Gerhardt. But Tom Bracken holding a consistent lead. It's about 2.1 seconds. As Max Knappen now coming on, well, that's Bruno Mulders again battling away with Antoine Bourgeot. Those 2 have been swapping positions more time than I've actually flicked tossed pancakes in a saucepan. And that's not very often. Four minutes and 47 seconds on the clock remaining, plus 1 additional lap. And the battle between 4th, 5th and 6th is getting even more intense because Ethan Jeff Hall has gone quicker and he's just put in a 1 minute 15.448, just over 15 thousandths slower than Kai Gielitz, who in 2nd position has dropped the gap from what was about 2 seconds. It's now 1.5 seconds. It's now Ethan Jeff Hall, youngster from Strawberry Racing. Is trying to get past, and that's a great move if he gets it down. Down the Europelan goes Ethan Jeff Hall and neatly slots his way up the inside of Antoine Brogiot. So now he becomes the meat in the sandwich, but he's not hanging about because he already put the power down going through the apex of turn 8 to close in onto Bruno Molders, but Antoine Brogiot not letting them get away. Max Knappen just a little bit further behind in the distance into turn 10. Molders and Jeff Hall go over the curbing to slow the carts down and assist with the momentum carry. Different lines taken by both Jeff Hall and Molders. Brogiot, Max Knappen, as Jeff Hall runs very wide but really hooks it up coming out of the corner and literally flies out of it. So 3 minutes and 13 seconds on the clock remaining. So Harry Linden's now got himself up into the top 15, make that the top 14 because he's got past Farhane Mega. And there's been another penalty that has been given. It's the 2.76. Unfortunately, Farhane Mega gets a 5-second time penalty from race control for pushing. And at the moment, Mega currently in 16th place. But that 5-second time penalty will more than likely drop him out of the top 20. Youngster from Halaton Amzir took the 2018 Minimax title at the Grand Finals in Brazil that year. There's now Bruno Molders getting a bit crossed up, going a bit sideways, going down the short blast from turns 9 to 10. He manages to control it nicely, but Ethan Jeff Hall trying to keep pace with him. And in terms of lap times, Ethan Jeff Hall is nearly 0.3 of a second quicker than Bruno Molders and is catching him down the start-finish straight. So the battle for 4th position really heating up as we head into the final 2 minutes. And as I say that, Kai Rielerts has been putting in consistently faster lap times than Tom Bracken. Gap now down to under a second between the two Belgians. So two Belgian drivers trying to do their level best. Rielerts will not want to have that clean sweep broken by Tom Bracken. And he's going to do his, in the best will of the world, he's going to try and get past. And he's got to do so within the next 2.5 minutes or so. As there is Marius Roos closing in on France's Antoine Brogiot. Max Knappen now up into 6th and is still trying to close in on Ethan Jeff Hall, who is around 1/10 of a second quicker than Bruno Molders. As Roos now closes on Brogiot, going through into turn 11. As now Kai Rielerts senses a chance. He's down the start-finish straight into turns 1 and 2. Sweeps a bit wider to get the cut back through into turn 2. Neatly done by the defending champion, but Bracken knew it was coming. They both are very, very well accomplished as Rielerts scrabbles for traction, putting the throttle down through turns 3 and 4. He goes towards the outside line through turn 5, does exactly the same through turn 6, but then that can allow Tim Gerhards, as Rielerts had enough room to punch the hole through that gap, and he's right on the back bumper. Now things are really concertinaing because we're getting into the last few seconds of this race for the timer to run out. So next time around they'll get the final lap board. This is the 9th and penultimate lap, but Tim Gerhards gets up the inside of Kai Rielerts. Rielerts hits the throttle hard, powers through the inside of the exit of turn 9. As now Ethan Jeff Hall sweeping towards the outside through turn 10. Now he hooks it up. Oh, moment there! Bruno Molders loses the back end, and Ethan Jeff Hall went to hit the throttle and got very badly compromised there. And that possibly has given an opportunity to Max Knappen to steal 4th position, which has happened. Final lap board out. Bracken leads the 10th and final lap of this first final. So So Bruno Moulders has dropped all the way down to 10th position. So Marius Roos, Thomas Strauven, Theo Blanc and also Antoine Broggio, with the latter in 6th position, now get an opportunity to score some points. But Moulders was gunning for keeping 4th, ahead of Ethan Jeff Hall and Max Knappen. But that's a real unfortunate incident. These wet weather conditions have been rather treacherous at best, especially yesterday. Obviously, all results called today are provisional, pending any sporting and technical checks post-sessions. Heading into turn 10 for the final time. Rilets will not be winning this one because Bracken goes towards the 12th and final turn. Let's see what happens here. They power out of the final corner. It's not going to be much, but Tom Bracken, the 288, takes final 1. Kai Rilets, pole sitter in qualifying. Pole sitter after heats classification yesterday, takes 2nd. Tim Gerhards rounds out the top 3. Max Knappen capitalises and takes 4th as a result of the incident that involved both Bruno Moulders, who finishes 11th, and Ethan Jeff Hall in 5th place. Antoine Broggio in 6th, Marius Roos in 7th, Thomas Strauven, Theo Blanc and Magnus Pedersen rounds out the top 10 positions. Bruno Moulders 11th, Vic Stevens, Farin Mega, who will receive a 5-second time penalty. There are also some others coming in. 276 Farin Mega, 206 also gets one. And the 242, so Mathis Turlo will get a 5-second time penalty. So Stolsamanis crosses the road in 14th, but will be promoted. Nick Gerhards will also be promoted, as will Mathis Turlo. It's a bit of a touch and go whether Harry Linden will move up another position, but he finishes on the road in 17th, ahead of Janis Diak, Kasper Schormans, Mikkel Pedersen, Rafael Renhofer, Eric Martinez, Chloe Chong, Thomas Cass, Daniel Sugar, Enzo Boll. Austin Lee made up 3 positions when he jumped from 30th to 27th. Alberto Kiko Fracassi, Greta Rosen and Montego Masson. That rounds out the 30 that finished the race with Ghazi Motlikar from Mozambique, a non-starter.